Hello, 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 hello. A very good evening to you all. This is State of the Nation, and we are 64 years old. It's not easy to be 64. Take it or leave it. We are old, and we are old. Old age comes with wisdom, comes with opportunity, comes with a lot of things. So we're going to look at Nigeria 64, the challenges and the opportunity. Have we not made progress? Some are saying no progress has been made, but I think we've made a lot of progress. Opportunities are there. We have a president who's telling us about a renewed hope. Well, I am here with Dr. Charles Omorodio. You know he's here and he's strong and he's going to talk me out of it. Well, if you don't even like the president with Doctor, you're going to love him. Doctor, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Right. And don't forget, we have another doctor right here. Dr. Manuel Ogenechuko is right here. I'll be adding him right away. Let me quickly bring in Doctor. Doctor, you're welcome to this celebration. Let's call it a celebration. So I hope we'll celebrate.
Of course.
Doctor, are we allowed to celebrate, Dr. Emmanuel?
Good or bad, there is life, so there is hope. So we need to celebrate.
So we should celebrate. All right. So the two doctors have agreed with me that we're going to celebrate. So you at home, let us celebrate. What we're celebrating today, we're celebrating Nigeria. We're 64 years old. And I think we've come a long way. It's good to look at where we're coming from, doctor. Let's take 2 seconds with these two doctors to tell us where we're coming from as a nation. There was a time, a lot of opportunity came. We actually got independence 64 years ago, which is a good news. And a few years down the line, we actually celebrated Kingdom. We had the first start was celebrated. We discovered oil. And we've been rich, a lot of money. But one must agree that we've been having a couple of government from civilian to military, down to civilian, now to military, and now we are in civilian again. So we should be, and civilian has been there for some years now, since 1999 to date, it's been civilian. So we are making progress. Doctor, do you agree?
We have made a significant progress from the time of independence to the time that we survived the Civil War, and a lot of people would not have survived it. And after the Civil War, there was this idea of one Nigeria, no victor, no vanquish slogan that went on during the Gowon regime, and then there were a series of hiccups in our administrations, military intervention into politics, and we then move on to now civilian era. Yeah, we've come a long way. 64 is a long time. If you look at in terms of human life cycle, we've come a long way as a nation. We're growing in maturity, we're growing in wisdom, but there are a few areas of our nationhood that perhaps when we look back on, we'll probably say, we didn't need to go through all that. At 64, comparing to other nations like Malaysia and all that, are we doing as much as we should expect? Maybe those are some of the things we'll look into during the course of this show.
Exactly. Nigeria is 64. Doctor just mentioned Malaysia, but we're not going to that yet. But Dr. Emmanuel, do you agree that we've made significant progress, and of course we have some challenges? Can you highlight some of them in your mind?
I wouldn't say we've really made significant progress at 64. Things has been very, very difficult. There has never been a time in Nigeria where we all agree that things are okay. It has never been okay since the history of
Nigeria. It has never been okay, doctor. We have always had issues. Human beings have issues. Even God, we have issues. God created us happily. We're still complaining.
It has been one issue to another since the creation or since we got independence. And I think going forward, we all have to agree on how we want to live our life as a nation. We'll all have to agree, because if we continue like this, we'll keep nosediving. I think that is all I have to say for now.
All right. Let's look at one critical area. Let's look at the government we have so far. We have different governments, from civilian to military. But the military came in, I would say they were invited because of the action or the activities or the mismanagement of the civilian government. Some people may agree, some may not. But I think that's why they came in. And that's why we had the hiccup we're talking about. Was it not necessary? Are you saying there was no need to have the military to come in at a point where people were siphoning, looting, and bastardizing the economy?
Well, with the benefit of hindsight, you could say, well, it was a mistake. Military have no business ruling the nation. They are confined to securing the borders, securing life and property. But at the time when they intervened, the people needed those interventions because things were really bad and people were complaining. And I remember when I was in Nigeria, throughout the time of those military coups, people were celebrating.
Yes.
It wasn't as if people were saying, no, leave our government alone. People felt things were not going very well and they celebrated. But it was a euphoric moment that didn't last very long because when the military came, because of the nature of ruling by fiat, there's no democracy and no consultation, and they do whatever they had to do. You could say that in itself is a problem.
Yes.
The military regime has got a plus and minus compared to the civilian regime. Some people will say the best military regime is not as good as the worst civilian regime. But again, the
that's
civilian,
subjective. Yeah?
Well, I said some people.
I agree.
Everybody.
I agree.
But you would say that Nigeria has come a long way. We're still learning. 64 for a nation, you would say that we are still developing. We're still trying to sort out our various infrastructures and ensuring that our system works to design specification. There's a lot for us to learn. We also need to look back and see, okay, what's gone well throughout the 64 years of our independence, and what's not gone so well. We've created a cabal of very rich people, and we've also created.
Is that good or bad, sir?
Well, every nation requires a degree of people who are affluent. But the thing is that you have to look at social mobility. Is the issue of social mobility within the country that we need to worry about. Is the gap between the rich and the poor, is it narrowing or is it widening? So those are some of the things we're
going to look at on this show detail. The gap between the rich and the poor, and that is one thing that is really important to us when we talk to progress. I know Doctor will have much to say about that, but we have a Royal Highness with us, a Royal Majesty, of course. Yes, His Royal Highness Uja Sani Simeon is right here joining us all the way from Kogi State. Your Highness, you're welcome to the show, sir. Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening. Happy Independence Day to you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and direct.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful. I say happy Independence.
Yes,
sir.
good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Your Highness.
Same here.
So, right here with the studio, I have two doctors with me. I have Dr. Charles Omorodio, a senior lecturer at the university here in London, is sitting right here with me. I have Dr. Emmanuel Oganachuko. I don't want to call the other name because I'm getting even I'm an honorable man. I couldn't pronounce the last one. You forgive me for that. He's all there with me, and there we have this Royal Highness. It's a full house, and we're celebrating Nigeria at 64. Your Highness, can you hear me?
Yes.
Doctor, Your Highness,
yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. Can you say that we have made progress as a nation? Have we made enough progress in your book? Okay, we need to get.
You are breaking, actually.
Am I breaking? Okay. I'm sure it's your network, sir. But I was asking if you're happy with.
I hear you.
You can hear me now. Okay. So I'm asking if you think we as a nation we have made enough progress. 64 years down the line, have we made enough progress?
Well, the problem I have is with that word, enough.
Okay, enough.
Because the life of a nation is more than that of. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go on, sir. Go on.
I think we're. Yes. Like I said earlier, I said the problem I have is with that word, enough.
Yes.
If you tell me enough, I can say is at the level of absolutism.
Okay.
So it is convenient for me to say sufficient
Okay.
instead.
All right.
So sufficiently, I can tell you that Nigeria at 64 is so far so good, relatively. Yes. Whether we are where we are supposed to be, again, that is the issue. And I will say we should have done better.
Okay. So the word sufficient
So
perhaps should
I
not
think
be
that
there too then.
suffices for your question.
Your Highness, so should we remove the word sufficient and we say we have made progress? Maybe because if enough is not there,
It's better
and
we use sufficient
then,
than whether it's than whether where we are, whether we have made enough progress.
yes,
Enough is
yes,
a matter of conjecture. But
yes,
sufficient, I will say yes, because it's a life of a country, it's a life of a people, and not just an individual, because it's a mixed feeling actually.
yes. It's true.
So there are areas that we made tremendous progress, and there are also areas that we should have done more. I think that is what it is for me.
Okay, I agree with you. And Doctor, I'm coming back, Your Highness. I'm sure
If you can
uh,
hear me.
we can hear you. We can hear you very well. We would like to know the areas where you think we've done well and the areas we've not done well. I'm
Yes.
not going to let everybody throw that light on that. So if you can tell that quickly.
Okay. Like if say in 1960, how we started, you will agree with me that where we are now is not where we were in 1960.
Agree.
In terms of the number of those that were university graduate as at 1960, in terms of the number of schools, the number of universities, the number of road infrastructures generally, as
True.
we had them in 1960. If you put that, you will know that we have grown tremendously in
Yes.
terms of the difference between what we had in 1960 and now. But just supposing that with other countries that were on the same pedestal as at 1960, for instance, people like China, like Indonesia, like Malaysia, and even in Africa, those that came far, way far behind us, where are they now? Where are we now? In that area, you would think that we will conclude that we are actually lagging behind, especially in our governmental policies that will help the ordinary Nigerians. Should I say ordinary, or people that, especially the youths that form the critical masses of this country? What have we done as a nation, as a government, to be able to provide enabling environment for the growth of these people, for the empowerment of the masses of Nigerian youth, for the Nigerian youth to live above poverty line? I think in that area, I will say we have not done much. We have not done much is not because we've had leaders actually that that are not overly wicked, so to say.
Yes.
We've had leaders that we can say, oh, their wish, their will, what they have done for Nigeria and the Nigerians to grow is sufficient. Yes. But how come that their intentions or the actions or what they meant for Nigeria and Nigerians does not translate into what they promise? So in that area, I will tell you that we are running a system that does not support growth. We are running a system that no matter how much you are willing as a leader, you are not likely to take to make real progress.
All right.
Yes. So
Yes,
my advice really, yes. Are we together?
we are together. We are together.
Hello?
We are with you. We are with you, sir. We are with you.
All right. So my advice really is to try to, yeah, okay. My advice really is to try to check what we've been doing over the years. What is our level of growth, for instance, pre-colonial days or pre-independence time? How have we lived during or post-independence? And where are we now?
Wonderful.
Especially in this new democratic
Sarah.
dispensation.
Yes, sir.
To me,
Makes
the
sense.
progress is very, very slow. Yes. The progress is very, very slow in this democratic dispensation. And the reason to me is simple. The presidential system of government that we are running is
Okay.
quite too tasking for our kind of country,
Okay.
quite too expensive for our kind of population. If you look around and about the world, the countries that run the kind of system that we are running, the only one that I can say is doing well sufficiently, maybe is the United States of America.
Yeah.
Yes, check around. The countries are practicing presidential system of government that are doing well, that are where they are supposed to be outside America. To me, the answer is far-fetched.
Okay. That's a food for thought. All right. Your Highness had
Progress,
a very big point
elections
there.
will
But
come.
yes, Your Highness.
Yes,
Yes.
elections will come. Yes.
Mhm.
Are we together?
We are together. I think you mentioned the area of elections. I wanted to give the other people to weigh in because you've made a very significant point there, Your Highness, where you
Okay,
said,
maybe I should
our,
go down and take their contributions.
yes, let them contribute. Yes. Yeah, Your Highness mentioned something very, very important, and I think we need to address this. Our leaders are really not
Okay.
overly wicked. Some of them mean well, we must agree. But the system happens to be too difficult for them, or is Nigeria too naturally difficult to rule, or why do you think so? Let's take it from Dr. Emmanuel first. I'm going to rest it. I'm going to finalize it with me in the studio. Dr. Emmanuel, what do you think? Because you agree with me that some of our leaders mean well, they meant well, and they tried, but maybe, like Heine said, it didn't translate to, or their intention cannot be seen by us in terms of their work of the development on ground.
Well, like I keep telling people, leadership is a reflection of the people. It is who we are, get as leaders. That is number one. That our leaders are not overly wicked. I wouldn't want to agree with that statement 100% because leadership is not rocket science. And the first thing I believe any leader should do that is really ready to take Nigeria to the next level is to operate an open government system whereby anything you are spending money for should be known by all. You know, in this country, there was a Freedom for Information bill. From the bill, it becomes a law. As we speak today, ordinary citizens cannot seek for information from ministries or departments or agencies and get the information as such when they seek for it. So they still run the government in secrecy. For instance, if you award a road contract to a contractor, and maybe for 20 billion. As you begin to release the money to the contractor, each money you release to the contractor is made known to the people. Definitely, the people will take responsibility of monitoring that job themselves, knowing fully well what has been given to the contractor. So when the contractor is cutting corners, they will call the contractor to order that this thing you are doing is not part of the BEME or BOQ of the job. You know, we have our own problems, because when we see what is good for us, we neglect it and go and elect what is good for us. I was telling my wife something this morning. I said, how do you expect an average civil servant of level 10 or 12 to survive in Nigeria right now? Before the increment in PMS, in the price of PMS,
yes,
if you use the Toyota Corolla 2006 or 2008 model, if you fill your tank, you can use it to run around your, for instance, in Asaba where I stay, you can use it to run around for 2 weeks, doing school run, going to the office. But I speak to you, if you fill your tank, it will take you up to 1 week, from Monday to Sunday. So if a civil servant that is earning 150,000 naira per month remove about 60,000 to fuel his car, what do you expect? So it is the leaders of this, those that have been governing us, they are, sorry to say, they are wicked.
Okay, that is Dr. Emmanuel thinks. I agree with you. Thank you, Dr. Emmanuel thinks our leaders are wicked. That is a matter of opinion, and I'm almost getting that, but I'm going to let Dr. Charles weigh in. Doctor, let's look at it. To survive in Nigeria now is now an issue, especially for the ordinary, for the low class, and for them, all the people are going to say, you are my leader, you're wicked. Are they right to say so?
I don't know whether it's about wickedness or it's about adopting policies that are counterproductive to developmental aspirations of the entire population. The idea is that government, whoever comes to government, should come in and try to improve on what we met on ground.
Okay.
But what we've seen, unfortunately, in the last couple of years, we've been regressing in so many areas. The inflationary figure has been allowed to run away without proper checking of what's going on. I feel sorry for the Nigerian civil service, and of course, other people who also work across different, even in the private sector.
Yeah.
From what Dr. Emmanuel have just explained,
Yes.
that even the cost of
fuel
or which is becoming one of the staple things in Nigeria these days, is becoming out of the reach of ordinary people. And this led itself to a situation where the civil servants will continue to look for ways to cut corners. And we're going to see, unfortunately, heightened corruptions, because people cannot just live by their living wage.
They will survive. You know, they will find a way to survive.
Of course. So that's the point. But in terms of our leaders wicked, depends on how you define wickedness. If their intention was not to inflict pains on ordinary people, then you will see them pursuing policies and programs that will alleviate poverty. Alleviate poverty.
Yeah.
And create an environment where people at least are able to have decent standard of living.
True.
It may not be affluent, but at least they can have 3 square meal a day, being able to clothe themselves, and those basic necessity of life, they should be able to get that. But like I said at the very onset of this program, the gap between the poor and the rich is becoming wider and wider, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate we find ourselves in that sort of situation.
It's a big area to dwell on.
In the country where we are, people are talking about social mobility. They are looking at ways in which they can lift people up from the very bottom up of the economic ladder to a place where they are at least self-sufficient to some extent. They can have decent meal, decent houses. They may not be affluent, but they are living rather than just existing. In Nigeria, unfortunately, a lot of people just exist. That's my take on that.
And I think, but let's take what the president said today. I think we're taking memory lane down to the current situation. The current situation is making us to judge the progress of Nigeria. But this is not the only Nigeria we've seen. Nigeria will be coming of age. We'll be having some leaders helping us, and down to where we are now. And on this president, the president is optimistic. This is what he has to say. Tinubu said, better day ahead of us. The Nigerian biting. I said, let us work together to build a better Nigeria. That is inspiring. However, this is one from Peter Obi. That is the one that's really disturbing. Peter Obi says, Africa's largest nation need urgent rescue from further decay. I know that I can just guess that Emmanuel in Asaba might agree with Peter. Am I right, sir?
Yes. Let me just do some analysis here.
Okay.
If we mean business, that yes, we want to grow as a nation, we will give special attention to small-scale business entrepreneurs. And right now in Nigeria, the cost of power, Nigeria will be grouped into Band A, Band B, Band C, yes, and the rest.
Yes.
The cost of running your business if you are in Band A, I don't know if they will be able to survive being in Band A or B as a small-scale entrepreneur. That is one. Then if you decide to rely on diesel, the cost of diesel is so high that buying diesel to run your business is a no-go area. So now the small-scale business, which are supposed to be the mainstay or the backup for the nation, they are finding it very difficult to survive. That many of them, as we speak, are folding up. That is one. Then two, if you go from the west, from the east to the south-south, from the south-south to the north, you will find out that we don't have any motorable road. Traveling from Asaba here to Benin, a journey that is not supposed to take you for more than 1 hour 30 minutes, will take you for over 2 hours. Traveling from Ughelli to Port Harcourt is something else. The east-west road is totally down. Then traveling from Asaba to Abuja is like a nightmare. People no longer use that road. Thank God the trains from Ujere to Agbo is working right now. Some people, if they want to go to Abuja, they would leave from Asaba here to Agbo, then board train to Itakpe, from Itakpe to Abuja. That is, I think, the safest and the best means to get to Abuja right now. Okay, if you say you want to use, you want to fly, the tickets now, they are out of the reach of the common man, even the middle class.
I think that's what I'm reaching.
So you see, it's like nothing is working. Sorry to say.
Yes.
The policies are there. But what are we doing to make sure that they work is another problem. So sometimes I just get tired, like what the other doctor there in the studio said, Nigerians are just existing. From the way things are right now, inflation is in 2 digits for the very first time. The last statistics released by Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, the last stuff released by them is about 30-something, the inflation rate. So where are we going? Now, majority of the food we eat in this country comes from the north. In Benue right now, the farmers, because of insecurity, they cannot go back to the farm. So now, another issue again, the little food they have there now to transport them down here to the south is a problem because of bad roads.
It's a problem.
The bad roads, diesel
then
and fuel is another problem.
This is.
So
I don't want to be president now.
So the president said better days ahead. But if you say better days ahead, there are some things we need to start saying now to show that there are better days ahead, of which we are not seeing anything.
Maybe this is where we're gonna come back to Your Highness. Highness, do you think, I'm gonna be very straight now, are you satisfied? Can you see the future, the better hope in this current administration? Can you hear me, Your Highness? Okay, Your Highness, his network.
Okay. I think I can hear you now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I said that.
I think I can hear you.
Wonderful. I said, are you hopeful with the renewed hope of President Tinubu? Let me put it that way.
Yes, I heard that. I sincerely don't want to dwell in the area of rhetorics because we've heard things like this over time and then you don't get to see results. You see, I was trying to lay a proper foundation, then identify the challenges I think that I have seen, and also in my own little way, be able to make recommendations for solution. This
Go ahead,
thing
sir.
should be long term. The president was just speaking. Yeah, the president was just speaking to the now. And the now that we are talking about, how firm is the foundation? So going back to what I was saying, was talking about the system that we run.
Yes.
No matter how
Right.
grandiose that your ideas may be, since it's predicated on the kind of system we run now, they are likely to yield nothing. Now, I was telling you about the presidential system of government. That is only
Yes, sir.
America that seems to be
Succeeded.
succeeding with it. As we speak, they are going into election, and they are all operating from the brinks as if the whole country is going to disintegrate. So what I was saying is, no matter the policies you put in place, once election, especially re-election tensions come, it tends to erode all the plans that you have. We have seen it over and over again. The costs of elections in Nigeria are so expensive. And because poverty over time has been weaponized, the people, the voters themselves, are not sufficiently empowered to be able to choose who their leader should be because of the system. So, as far as we keep linking the progress, as far as we keep using the individuals as our growth compass, we will be missing it all of that time. What we need are stronger institutions. That is
Okay.
why, to me, I would rather recommend that
Okay.
a parliamentary system of government for Nigeria will be the best, where you are going to have only one national election into the National Assembly. And then who becomes the leader? There will come from the collegiate type of elections. That is why in the United Kingdom today, you see people, since they are not able, people will come as prime minister, before you know it, they jump in and they jump out because they are not able they're not able to give the people more control of their own lives. Let me put it that way. Because any government that you run, that people at the grassroots are not deliberately or intentionally factored in to choose the leadership at the federal level, to me, is not likely going to work. All the policies that Mr. President is talking about, how would they work without the subnational? By his own confession or admission today, he mentioned a few states that have keyed into his agricultural policies. Some didn't. You understand?
Yes.
So what I recommend, like I told you earlier, parliamentary system of government at the federal level. And then even at the local level, we should remove do a quasi kind of democracy where you have native authority, because to me it will make the local governments work better. Take
Yes.
for instance the traditional rulers. They are the owners of the land and the owners of the people.
Yes.
If they are the traditional rulers, have the kind of budget that goes into the local government
Local
today,
government.
I can tell you that in another 6 months, you are going to reduce insecurity by like 60 to 70%.
Now you just
And I
said it.
mean what I'm saying.
No,
You understand?
thank you, sir.
If you look at the way the can you hear me?
Now we're with you. We are with you, very much with you. I'm liking what you said.
Are we together?
We are together. We are together, sir. You're saying so.
Okay, very well. So that is at the level of grassroots. Remove cost of election. You understand? Remove cost of election at the level of presidential election also. Then you have the election at the subnational, which is the states as it is now. Take, for instance, governors or former governors have been accused everywhere, allegation of, oh, they've stole so much billions here and there.
This one.
I've heard of such allegations. By the time you get very close to these former governors, you will find out that what they have been alleged to have stolen and what they have as persons is a far cry from the money you say they have stolen. It is the system. You understand?
Yes.
You steal money only for you to feed the system almost unlawfully. You understand? Okay,
Yes,
I'll
sir.
give you an example. A small and a very poor state in Nigeria, where a sitting governor have shown potential, he had done sufficiently well, will have to budget between 50 to 70 billion naira for his own re-election. How do you think he will get this money? And if you say, oh, if you don't have the money, if you are not prepared, you just go out because you don't have to steal people's money to be able to fund your elections. That sitting governor is aware that other people are going to get money from
Spend.
somewhere,
They're
get
going
you,
to outspend
and
him.
also
Yes.
do what you are asking him not to do. That is why, of course, they volunteer to serve you, and in the end, you find them serving you by all means. So let us reduce cost of election. That
Sir,
is
cost of
why.
election, sir.
If you
Your
reduce
Highness.
cost of election,
Yes, sir. Your
yes,
Highness, is cost of election is understandable, but cost of governance. Let's put it this way: Nigeria is a complex society. We're it's a nation of tribes. Nigeria is a nation of nations. Let's say we have so many ethnic nations. I like one thing you said, and I want to put that into this question,
yes.
and I want Doctor to weigh in there. I once asked my king. I said, "Sir, do you think we need what happened if the state is working with the traditional rulers? So we have this local system already. So the state now work with the traditional rulers. So we don't need a local government. For instance, that reduce some cost. And the kings, they know the area, they know the terrain, they can help us solve one or two problems." Then he said something to me. He said, in my local government, we have 5 kings.
Hello?
5. Yes.
Yes.
You hear me, Your Highness? In my
Yes.
local government alone, small as it is, it's actually about 6 kings now. 6 in one local government. So who's going to be the head of the local government? So that was some of the issues he mentioned. I said, well, maybe we don't need the local government.
Let me quickly deal with that.
Okay.
As it is in this country right now, we have 744 local governments, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Each and every one of these local governments have traditional councils. And each traditional council also have chairman.
Yes.
So you take it from there.
All right.
That chairman of local traditional council can actually head the council. And let me tell you, the kind of traditional rulers you have now are not the type you used to have in those ancient days.
I agree. The educated.
You have retired
I'm confused to see a traditional ruler.
Supreme Court, of the
No,
Appeal
sir,
Court,
doctor.
the High Court, and so on,
Yes,
coming
sir.
to become traditional rulers. We have today a former central bank governor as an emir, a traditional ruler.
Yes.
We have ambassadors. Take, for
True.
instance, my humble self. I am a lawyer.
All right. It's
So
evidence.
it is
Sir.
the most colorful.
It's evidence. Yes.
Yes. It is the most colorful cycle in this country now. People that owns the land and people that owns the people, you are saying that they have no right over the administration of their land and their people. Physically and spiritually, I think that is wrong. Looking at the colonial days, the time, if you follow the constitutional development of this country, the indirect rule, native authority, before we got to local government reforms of 1976, the Dasuki report, even though that it was inchoate, and look at what General Babangida's government did in the local government administration, vis-a-vis put them together. We have professors that are traditional rulers now, and you are telling me that they cannot manage local authorities?
They can.
When now
I
in
think
some states, you have people that the first salary they will take in their lifetime, people that have not resolved any human problem before, the first salary they will take in their lifetime is as local government administrator.
Your Highness.
Oh,
Your
you
Highness.
see.
Your Highness.
Yes.
May I not cut you, sir?
Yes.
May I not cut you? But let me ask a question. This is my question I say to everybody. Why are the traditional rulers currently not using their office to show us that they can perform the miracle? Let me put it this way. Will it be so bad if our traditional rulers now have NGOs and through their NGOs begin to make impact without even being in government? Because traditional rulers can actually raise money. And they can raise money and carry out projects. They don't need to be government to do so. I don't know whether you...
How are you going to do? How are you going to do that? The traditional ruler is not captured in the laws guiding tax administration in Nigeria or revenue drive. You should know that. And I will also tell you now that traditional rulers are just there. There's no constitutional role. Even though that they are actually the real managers of the security system in Nigeria, of the land, with no budget. I'll give you an example. The last protest, is the end government or what now? Government didn't want it to happen. Who do they call upon? The traditional rulers. They were assembled in Abuja, addressed by the president to go talk to their subjects. They came back home and talked to our subjects. And that is why, even though that protest held, it would have been worse off. So why is it like that? If they think that the traditional institutions are as irrelevant as it is, that they don't want to give the traditional rulers roles in this country.
I think
for instance, in my local government.
Okay.
Let me quickly make the point out. In my local government in Kogi State, I have 11 district heads. And we also have over 400 smaller chiefs. So that if a stranger enters this local government today, with the snap of my finger, is very easy for me to know. The people respect the traditional rulers. But the traditional rulers, can they command the respect? That's where the issue lies. Because the police, instead of them to know that they are actually working with you. You understand? They are working for you. The orientation they come with is that they are here to work with you. You can see the governors of states battling to even have control, effective one, on the Nigerian police.
Your Highness,
So if
that's a
the
very good
traditional
one.
institution have that budget, it is very easy.
For them
Like
to do
now,
it.
we will have to plead with our youth to raise vigilantes to be able to give that backup to the speech organizations in our local government. They hear you, but is this sustainable when you are left with no budget? So that is the thing.
And I think as part
The
of the
earlier
next,
that
yes, sir. I agree with you. I think
yes,
I have
the
a
earlier
belief,
we are,
I have a Benin man in the studio with me.
and
Your
then
Highness, I have a
okay,
Benin man in the studio
sorry,
with
can
me.
I quickly?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes, I would like. Before I, if you can allow me to quickly make this point,
I'll let you finish, sir. Yes, sir.
that as it has to do with the, because as it has to do with the economy,
Okay.
the issue of food security. You understand?
Yes, sir.
I don't know how much of time that I have.
Go on, sir.
Like
Go
I
on.
told you,
You don't interrupt a
like I
king in my
told you.
place. You dare not.
Very well.
We're not
Very
allowed
well.
to.
Like I
Yes, sir.
told you, you cannot have food security where farmers are insecure. It is certain. A lot of this is the thing that we are talking about. Over 70% of it, what's responsible for is that you have more persons eating food daily and you have lesser farmers. Farmers, in fact, the population of farmers is dwindling by the minutes because people cannot go to the farm. You understand? That is one area. And another area is in terms of infrastructure. Because whatever it is that we produce on our farms in this country, more than 40% of it are lost to waste. Like tomatoes, fish, all those perishable goods. By the time before they get to the farm, to get to the urban, from the farm to the urban market, the bad road or the transport system, the trucks. You find sometimes you see trucks breaking down on the road for upwards of 2-3 weeks. So that before you get to the expected destination, you will find out that about 40% or more of what you are carrying has rotten away. And you will have to even auction them, the remaining ones, which is not even good for consumption of people. So it takes us back to issue of try to control insecurity in Nigeria. And the only way you
Which the
go about
traditional
it is
rulers can help.
have
Yes.
stronger institutions, not strong men. Stronger
Yes.
institutions.
Institution, not strong men. That's a big one. Yes, I agree. So,
Thank you.
Your Highness, I'm going to allow these two doctors, medical doctors, they are intellectuals. I'm going to allow them to weigh in on this. One, I want them to talk about the role of the traditional rulers and if the system of government we're currently practicing is not too expensive to run. But my book, let me take a position. My position is if the governors, for instance, are effective, if they can run their state like a country, because I would say every state in Nigeria is equal to a country of its own. And if they had the vision, maybe the system is not prepared for, but they have some resources, they can use that to turn their state into a country of their own. That would be a debate. But I'll allow these two doctors with me to weigh in. Dr. Shas, what do you think?
Well, your Royal Highness, you have eloquently presented a thesis that support the role of traditional institutions in modern democracy, which I want to applaud. However, as a student of history and as a scholar, I will want to disagree with some of your views. I agree totally with you that the presidential system of government is an expensive system of government to practice. And for a developing country like Nigeria, it is something that has become very, very difficult to actualize, in the sense that in every state it leads to duplications of roles.
Yes.
Such to such extent that the highest employer of labor in all Nigerian states becomes the government themselves, which should have been the private sectors. So to that extent, I agree with you. I also share your views about the parliamentary system of government, that it is less expensive. We are here in England. I've been in England now for over 30 something years, so I have witnessed the system. I understand the system in and out. However, I want to advance that, going back to the feudal system of government, which is what you are advocating. If you look at the history of the feudal system of government that has been disbanded across the whole of Europe and most of the Western world, because it has its own flaws.
But doctor, don't you think it's asking for miss job there? It's not going. It's not saying we should go back totally to that.
Hang on, let me finish my argument.
All right, go on.
It has its own flaws in the sense that it creates. It's almost near to authoritarian system of government, because there are no checks and balances. Although I know in my particular area where you have Ahmed Benin from Edo State, you know the Oba of Benin have his chief, and the chiefs depends on the Oba who is there, tend to be a little bit semi-democratic in the sense that the Oba have the final say, but he also consults with his chiefs and other regional dukes, so to speak. I think what we really need is what Emmanuel said earlier on, and to some extent, our Royal Highness also alluded to it, is to build a system, an effective system that can withstand the test of time. That even when a particular leader or a particular elected leader leaves an office, the system can still function on its own.
Yes.
At the moment, what we have, again, I think the Royal Highness said that we need to build stronger institutions rather than stronger individuals.
Yes.
But what we're having in Nigeria at the moment is stronger individual and weak institution.
The individuals are richer than the state, even in terms of wealth as well.
But in some countries, individuals are also where you have entrepreneurship and you have people who are able to amass wealth. Some individuals are extremely rich. But our system of government, there are no clear checks and balances. For example, you said something about the state government, state governors being accused of stealing money and so on and so forth. It is because we have weak infrastructures, weak system to support those particular government. In this country where we are, it is difficult for the prime minister to go to any ministry and say, I need 5 million. I need 2 million.
He cannot.
Even the lowest civil servants will ask him, have you followed the due process?
For what? That's for what?
Only in this week, the prime minister is being questioned because people gave him private gift in form of clothes. He was traveling. People gave him their home to stay. And people are questioning the morality behind the ethical morality behind that particular. It is because in the psychic of the people, people know what is right and what is wrong. There is moral, the idea of morality, the idea of equity, the idea of what is just is well entrenched in the heart and mind of the people. Whereas in Nigeria is different. I remember earlier on, Dr. Emmanuel said that the people deserve their leader, that the leader is a reflection
of the people,
which is true. Because if you are now elected into a position and you want to be upright, the same people that you are fighting for will accuse you of being stingy. They will call you all sorts of names because you are too tight, the way they will
and your Highness said you have to save money for the next election.
That's another point, because there are no system in this country. There are systems to check where the money is coming from. In France, only today, the lady, what's her name? Something Mela Pen. She's been accused of using European money to employ staff in an office with a view to support our own political party. And that's a serious matter, because there are ethical considerations when it comes to public governance. I think what we need, in actual sense, is to go back to the drawing board. When our founding fathers founded Nigeria, they had a regional system of government, and that regional system of government worked to some extent. I think we need to go back to that sort of regional system of government. I think Nigeria at the moment, if I have the opportunity, I would say we now have 6 geopolitical zones. Let those 6 geopolitical zones produce their own regional government, reduce the power of the federal government, and so that the exclusive list and the concurrent list, as the case may be, are narrowed down to some extent, because the federal government is saddled with too many responsibility and too many power. And that's one point. The second point is that, are we truly running a federation?
We don't.
We are running a unitary system of government. If you look at United States, for example, the state of Florida and other states, they have their own laws, they have their own rules. Everything, it's not centered around the federal government. So even the presidential system of government that we say we're running, we've picked and choose the bits that we want to run with, and that's why it's not working.
It's
so it's a very difficult situation, because the people who are supposed to be able to correct this system, like the Senate and the House of Reps, they will not want to do it, because it would dilute their own authorities and their power. So we need honest brokers at that particular level. Then coming back to poverty and other things that is disabling Nigeria as we speak, I think this is a lot to do with the fact that we secretly went for an IMF loan, and the IMF functionality is what Tinubu is trying to implement. And when these people give you money, they ask you to devalue your currency.
There are conditions.
That's some of the conditions you have to take, unfortunately. Yes. Whereas there are a few individuals in Nigeria who could have even advanced the country those sort of loan at a better rate and security. Nigeria is a complex country to manage. Apart from our diverse ethnic group and ethnic nationality, we do not actually unite behind that green flag. We do not see ourselves patriotic enough to say we are true Nigerians by the spirit, like the way Americans will embrace the American flag and be proud of being an American. I don't see that. I still feel that what Awolowo said years ago still holds true, that Nigeria is a mere geographical expression. We still don't feel that feeling that from north to east to south, we're all one Nigeria in a way, having that sort of ideology. I think Nigeria 64 is an opportunity for us to start to debate and look at what Nigeria do we really want going forward.
Okay. And it's a wonderful submission from Dr. And I'm going to go back. Yeah, Dr. Emmanuel, I know your network is shaky, but I really need to pick this from you, because you're coming from a very different angle, which is the angle of the rich and the poor. I think the Nigeria of today, that is an issue that needs to be addressed and need to be addressed now. Labor went on the streets seeking minimum wage. It's still a shame. The cost of living for the poor people is this, and the rich are getting richer. If Nigeria, if you're rich, you're going to get rich, and the poor are going to get poorer. What is your solution, Doctor, on that?
You see, in a mixed economy like this, the capitalists definitely will get richer, because the capitalists, all what they are after is their profit. They don't care whether the common man is dying or not. A very good example is what is happening between the NNPC and the Dangote refinery. Earlier, the Dangote refinery came out and said the industry is regulated, that is, it is NNPC that fixes price. of which we know that industry is no longer regulated, it's not deregulated. NFDC came out and said, no, they don't fix price. And they don't want to tell us what is really happening there. You know,
Yes.
There is a cloud of secrecy in that area. Like I said earlier on, sir, you see, leadership is not easy. At the same time, too, leadership is not rocket science. And the first point to get things right in this country is let everybody who is ready to work for this nation, whenever you find yourself in position of authority, come out with the truth. You see, earlier last year, when this current dispensation, when this government started, there was issue of buying cars for the National Assembly members. And there's so many Nigerians were expecting that. They started loving the Labour Party because they felt Peter Obi, or they feel Peter Obi is an upright man. And they believe that every person elected to the platform of that party should not accept those cars because Nigerians are suffering. But
Yes.
at the end of the day, what happened? Every member voted into the National Assembly in the House of Rep and Senate from the
want their own.
they collected the cars.
Of
And as we
course.
speak today, Nigerians are saying that the take home of the National Assembly members is so bogus. You know, from their basic salary to allowances, competency allowances, and all that, is
Senators
amounting to
included.
over 20 million. But you will never see any senator, either of the APC, of the PDP, or of the Labour Party, coming out to tell Nigerians the true position of what their take home is. That's to tell you that everybody's just looking for a way to get there and begin to share from the national cake. You know? So the thing is, Nigeria will only work when everybody is ready.
Okay.
For instance, in Delta State here, Governor Sheriff Oboriwori is the fourth democratically elected governor we are having right now in this new dispensation, starting from Ipori, you know. And for the very first time, I'm seeing a governor who hasn't gone to any of the banks to collect money, but rather he's trying to pay up what the state is owing to free up the state allocation. Now, I have interacted with so many people in this state. Like you said earlier, sir, there are a lot of Deltans, civil servants inclusive, who are complaining that the governor is very stingy. You know, now the man is trying to be prudent. People are complaining that the man is stingy. That is on one side. Then, going forward, Labour, the union, they went on strike. That enough is enough. No civil servant will survive with this current minimum wage, that they need a living wage. They went on back and forth, and a particular amount was agreed. As I speak to you, it is going to 2 months now that they agree on a particular amount. What about the implementation? But if it is anything that concerns the ruling class, it doesn't take weeks for it to
One day.
approve. Look at
The
the
money is
presidential
released before the approval.
the presidential jet that was bought. You know, now, like I said, we can only get it right when, like, I want to agree with what His Royal Majesty, Royal Highness said. The royal fathers in the local government, we should look for a way to recognize them because they have a very strong role to play in the peace and stability of their domain. They know the people. If they have what it takes, the insecurity we are experiencing in Nigeria starts from, it's taking place in the local government, in the villages, you know, and some of these people, they are known. Their parents are known. Their family houses are known. When they were growing up, they are known. So when you include them, give them, let them be recognized fully in running of the local government, you will see that they will begin to, in a way, be putting checks to this kind of issues that we are having in the local government. Now, this traditional rulers have a way of returning their people to farm. Like in my area where I come from, in Sanubi, a village of Orogu, we were having issue of herdsmen chasing people from their farm. We didn't wait for the government to come and solve the problem for us. Our royal father set up a youth body that goes to the farm to even liaise with these people, that we are not saying that your cows shouldn't feed or you shouldn't bring your cows down to this place. But when you bring your cows down, let us know you, so that if anything happens to any of the farmland belonging to our people, we'll know who to hold responsible.
Exactly.
And without minimizing West, it is yielding good results in my village. When the people come, they come to the community, they go to the palace, they will say, sir, we are the owner of so-so cow, so-so cow, so-so cow. These are our boys that will be taking care of the cow, they will be in so-so bush. Then we'll give them the rules and regulations of our community. So when they begin to go around with their heads, they don't go into people's cassava farm or plantation or palm plantation, you know. So that has been giving us good results. And whenever there is maybe little crisis or crisis is about to start, the leadership of the community goes to the palace, they sit down in the palace, then they will agree. Before the local government come from Mugele, whatever the problems are in our village, the local authority will start handling it before government will come in. So for us as a country, I hope I'm not trying to...
No, I know that. We're digesting it.
The gap between the rich and the poor will continue to expand, in that we are operating a mixed economy. And everybody that is going into business is going to business to make profit.
Yes.
And whenever there is increase in cost of production, these capitalists, they don't bear the cost of production. They shift that increment down to the final consumer. And that is another reason we keep having increase in the cost of goods and services in the country.
Well, let's talk about
make it easy for us.
Go on.
Let me just.
Yes.
To make it easy for us as a people, the Federal Ministry of Agri, the Bank of Industry, the Bank of Agri, the CBN, this is their anchor borrowers program. They should make sure that they give it to those who really need it. Because at the end of the day, you hear CBN give us also money, anchor borrowers program, and those they give the money to, you don't see them doing commercial farming. They just go to farm. If they go to farm at all, to farm, feed themselves. But the reason why this loan was given, this money was given to them, is for them to go into commercial farming so that there will be food security. So I think those programs also need to be reviewed and make it more efficient and effective. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think, thank you. If I have anybody that just joining us, I am in the presence of greatness. I have Dr. Omorodia with me in the studio, and I have Dr. Emmanuel Igbisi right there from Asaba, and His Royal Highness Uja Sani Simeon, all the way from Kogi State. We're looking at the state of the nation, where we are as a people and where we need to be. We all agree that we want to be somewhere. We want there. We want to get there. We all agree. We want to have a Nigeria of our dream. We can see it. The question is eluding us. Why? It's all we hear is leadership. And I think the citizens are not doing their own part. Nigerians came out. We just had an election in Edo State a few days ago, Doctor. And I'm going to put this between these, Your Highness and Doctor. I would like them to weigh. We just had an election. The election has come and gone. The same energy we used to elect the governor. Why are we not using that same energy to support the governor or disagree with him if he's doing things wrong? Why do we just leave we've elected you, go and take our destiny to where you want to be? Why is it so?
I think the citizens need to participate in the governors themselves.
Okay.
And the essence of democracy would say is power for the people and by the people and for the people.
Okay.
And that aspect of sensitizing the citizens to their roles in ensuring that they hold their government to account for the way they spend their taxpayers' money and the allocation is also very, very key to any good governance. But we have a very docile citizens in Nigeria who only come out once in a while to protest.
To vote.
Even,
and after voting,
and to protest. As well.
Okay.
And even their protests, they do not even have the stomach to sustain such protests beyond a day or two. You know, that's the problem. Nigeria is a very complex, like we said, it's a very complex society to govern. But at the same time, I'm just following on what Dr. Emmanuel said about the Bank of Industry, CBN, and ANCO. These are all institutions that meant well for the people.
Again,
the question is, why is it not working?
Good question.
Because the people that have been assigned to manage those institutions are not doing what they are supposed to do.
But doctor, why are we not holding them? That's the office of the citizen I'm talking about. Yeah. Why is the office of the citizen not holding these people accountable? You don't expect me to. I'm going to check myself until it's going to be right. You give me something to vote. If I have the freedom, I will misbehave.
Of course, but that's the next phase in terms of where we probably need to educate the electorate to say, look, your role does not stop just during the polling days. Your role is ensuring that your money is being spent judiciously by whoever you elect.
In fact, that is more important than even the election.
Of course, you continue. Because if you don't do that, that means you just give the government a blank check and they can do whatever they like.
That's what they're doing.
You know, and a situation where money that is meant for local government, the governor of a particular state will hang on to that money. It just shows that our systems are not working as effective as it should be. You've also talked about cars. In our part of the world, when an MP comes to the office, nobody buys them cars.
No way. You're on your own.
Nobody buys them cars. My local MP rides on the same train as ourselves.
Yes, same train.
Same train, the same bus sometimes.
Yes.
You know, they don't go into government to be super rich.
To be super superior.
Yeah, they go into government to make change in society, to effect change, positive change in society. But our people go into government because they feel this is an opportunity for me to make mega money and you will not have this sort of money elsewhere. And that's why they go into government. But let me just go back to what the Royal Highness said before in terms of the role of traditional rulers. When we had independence in the 1960s, we had what we call the House of Chiefs.
Okay.
And these chiefs and royal fathers were given opportunity and given the power to be able to make rules. I bet it was chieftaincy rules, but they were able to make rules that govern certain traditional aspects of our society. Maybe we need to revisit those.
Yes.
I know that the House of Chiefs has now become part of the ceremonial council of traditional rulers. But in effect, the traditional institution has been reduced to the point where they are now under local government chairmen. Right. And that creates another problem in our society. I still want to advocate that the regional system of government is better. And another thing that pains me most is that we invest a lot of our resources, money, time, and effort to set up committees like the CONFAB that was set up. And yet, when they produce recommendations, we just sweep it under the carpet. Why are we not fighting for those recommendations to be implemented? Those recommendations were put together by the best brain
in Nigeria
with full consultation.
Good.
You know, and it's supposed to be initiative that will usher in a new system of democracy, a more accountable governance, and at the same time drawing power close to the people. There are a lot of good things that are in there, including resource control, including regional government, including aspects, that different governors cooperate in the same country at the same time.
Yes.
But those things have been swept under the carpet by the same elite people that, rights to National Assembly and State Assembly. But the issue is not just with National Assembly. The issue is also with the state governors. For the amount of money that goes into every state.
States. Thank you.
If they are used judiciously, and if they have invested into developing infrastructures, into enabling, whether we are operating a mixed economy or command economy, if they are enabling entrepreneurial activities to thrive in those states, of course, you will find that wealth will be created, and wealth will be sustained, and you will have a trickle-down effect in terms of our developmental stride. So we have a long way to go in Nigeria. We talk and talk and talk, but most of us don't follow our talk with action. That is where we problem
that is where I'm going to come back to Your Majesty, Your Highness. Your Highness, your role in society, you are the father of the nation. You are the fathers of the nation. You're supposed to stand for the truth. You're supposed to be able to say the citizen, the office of the citizen perhaps should be led by the traditional rulers of today to say, oh, all right, you've been appointed governor, you have been voted a governor, but we're going to make sure, or we're going to advise you, take it that way, that you do things that will be beneficial to the lower class. A society that does not recognize the lower class is bound to doom. Let me use the word. For this evil existing in our land, righteous men are busy doing nothing, sir. So I'm asking now that, would it be so bad if our traditional rulers now rise up to say, oh, we're not gonna fight, but we're gonna stand to correct the ills in our society by speaking out when they see something wrong?
Thank you, my dear brother.
Yes, sir.
At least I'm speaking out.
Good. Yes, sir.
I
agree.
At least I'm speaking out. I would like to answer your questions by first responding to two issues raised by the prince in the studio, the doctor in the UK.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that he has fears about traditional rulers coming to take over at the grassroots level, fears of abuse. Yeah. You see, the way we are now, if you like, disintegrate, segment into 20, 30 countries. In another 20 years, Nigeria will continue to happen to those segments, even when we are not Nigerian.
Yes.
So the abuse will be there. But it will be there anyway, whether with traditional institution, rulers or not. But I want to give you a short life cycle of local government administration in Nigeria. Most times, they are raised from the people, they are raised from among us. People that live with those of us in the villages, the grassroots. By the time they get to that office, the first 3 months, they build the house that they will call their own.
The village, they call it the country home.
Yes. It usually happens between 3 to 6 months. They are done with that. Then in 12 months, and then maybe you look at maximum of 18 months, they have built another house in the state capital. When they have the chance to continue, they are going to Abuja to either own a hotel, no matter how small, or own another restaurant in Abuja. That is forward integration. I lived in Lagos for 23 years into private businesses. The things that I owned in Lagos, when I got enthroned as a king over my people, I sold the things I could sell, moved the resources down home, because what you met on ground is like the difference between where I am and Lagos is like day and night. You are the king.
Yes.
You are the husband of all the
So you
widows.
have to adjust. Yes. And you cope.
You are the father of all the fatherless.
Yes.
So the ones that cannot pay school fees, you see them in the palace. That's where they go. They come. The ones that have no food, it is the palace that they come.
Yes.
The king is the king, he's the lawyer, he's the judge, he's the priest. That is the enormity of the responsibility that's at the doorstep of a traditional ruler. So you can see the wealth, the luxury that you see Emir Sanusi displayed today. You are loving them, isn't it? They are
Yes.
not gotten, it's not gotten, I don't think it's gotten from that show. It's something that he has earned over the years outside of Kano that he's brought home. That is backward integration. So, for instance, if the two of them must be corrupt, the one that you would like to choose is the one that will be corrupt and remain with the people and spend the corrupt money on the people. That is my take. Instead of taking what belongs to the people out and out of the hands of the people. So the issue of abuse, I can tell you that you should disabuse your mind. It will be there, but it will be temporary over time because the people check their king even more
They
than
talk.
the government
Yes.
that they cannot access. So that is one. You have also spoken about going back to the pre-colonial days, regional government, and I think the president has proposed a bill to that effect. To my mind, we Nigerians, we are being overrated. We don't have such a sophistication for now. Today, as we speak, every goddamn thing in this country is premised on ethnic and religion prism.
Mm.
So you see people by the minutes agitating to pull apart. So if you now say, okay, let us do regional government, I can tell you in no time, Nigeria will be perforated. And will it be good for us? Will it not be good for us? I can assure you, it will not be the best for us. We've had Sudan, and now we have had we are having Southern Sudan and Sudan. The one is, like that. The Congos of that time, the people that countries that were once great and then fragmented over time. Can you tell me that they have done better? Where are they? With the oil and everything in Sudan, they are still, in fact, their condition is becoming a worse. Take, for instance, I am an Igala man, already a minority in Nigeria. And now you are saying that we should fragment into six. Then I'll become a minority in another minority. I don't think that is what the founders of this country envisage. It then means that all the sufferings, the pains that we have gone through in the nationhood of 64 years will just go to nothing. All we need to do, one, is to have good policy, like I said earlier, and then the politicians also should be able to put their thinking cap. One of my daughters recently drew my attention to something that's trending on the internet that Niger, for instance, is about the third or fifth fastest growing economy in the world,
Niger.
just for the fact under military government, just for the fact that they have changed everything. They changed everything and they changed Godfathers too. You and I know that. There was a reflection of that in the last protest in Nigeria. Somewhere in Kaduna, flags were being waved everywhere, flags other than that of Nigeria, to the extent that people began to compare Nigeria with Niger. That is negative comparison. Is leading with dangerous signs. Those that should show interest in that kind of thing to better begin to take interest on that so that Nigerians will not be pushed to the brink anymore. So that people now will be given sense of belonging. So the theft that we
Okay. The Highness is still speaking, and once his audio comes back, I will allow him to continue. But we're coming towards the end of the show.
what
I
did I
know
use
I
the
have.
money for?
Go.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
It is because of elections, and that will take me now to Edo State.
Okay.
I can assure you that every vote that was counted and counted for the result in Edo State, and as it is with like every state in Nigeria, it is less than 10% of those votes that you will say was done in accordance with people's conscience, in accordance with who people want to vote for. Over time, poverty has been weaponized, that the poor will not even be able to be intentional to carry out what he intends to do. 90% of the votes that you are seeing there were done for pecuniary interest. For the moment, people were giving money, all the parties giving people money. So the votes that you are seeing was for the highest bargain. It's not as if the people believe in them. And because of that, there is this burden of morality that you actually took money to vote for this person. So the person needs to sit and recover his money. You will not be able to check them. The people are so weak. The people are so poor to make such a demand. If the elections at the grassroots is the one that will be managed, that will be supervised by a non-politician, you will see that the politicians at the national and subnational begin to put on their thinking cap to be able to perform so that they will be returned to office only on the deliveries they have been able to make on the expectation of the people. Take, for instance, traditional rulers, they are non-partisans. At the grassroots that they are leading, they will be able to provide for people that they will be so engaged in such a way that they will not be needing that 5,000 naira, that 1,000 naira or 2,000 or the people that are taking money to buy their votes for 4 years. They will be able to vote their mind at the elections. So now, my secretary just drew my attention to this. I don't know if the camera can see it.
I don't think so.
This is complaint.
Let me see.
This
Let's
is
see whether we can
complaint.
get to. Okay.
Can you see it now? This is a
Yes, it's a
complaint.
development association in Kogi State.
The herdsmen has invaded their community. They are
They said they are
complaining to
coming.
me. The herdsmen has invaded their community, and they are already destroying their farms.
In Kogi State.
They saw government. Yes. They saw government. They saw the security agencies, and they are writing to us. It is because of the solutions we have provided in the past. It's because of the mechanism we have put in place using the window of ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution.
Yes.
That is why they trust us. If you bring police into this matter or other security agencies, they will go there, the both parties will tell lies from A to Z.
Yes.
Once they come to the palace, they know that before they come here, their ancestors are here. They won't tell lies. They will tell us the truth because they know what they know about the traditional
tradition.
institute. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have not stayed for long on the throne, just about 6 years ago. There is a lingering boundary crisis that have taken many lives, nothing less than 1,000 human beings, between southern and northern Nigeria. Now Kogi State and Enugu State as a player. I'm talking of 78 years old case, because this case started in 1946. When I came to the throne, I look at what they've been doing before. I saw that they have tried their best, but we needed to change the narrative. We needed to start talking to ourselves, those that are being killed and those that are being killed, if it is worth it. As we speak, we all agree that we should go and stand on the position of strength, which is the law. That is what to be best for the both parties. We're able to bring the boundary commission for ethnography, field tracing, and now the reports are being signed. In fact, we have signed the report, the both parties, amicably. We ate and we drank together on that same table where the report was signed. And we are expecting them to come and begin to erect pillars. And we are here. Everywhere is peaceful. I know a lot of traditional rulers that know much more than me, that can educate me, that can take lesson from all facets of life. Like I told you, I met with the Emir of Lafia recently, an eminent jurist, the lower court, high court, federal high court, and then appeal court, Supreme Court. And then what is
Your Highness, I would like to have a full show with you to talk about the roles of traditional rulers in country and how they can be better put to use to save the day. I'm going to have that discussion. I'm coming back to you secretly on that. We need it.
Take notice. I'm already waiting.
All right, sir.
For that.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. And really, it is very important that you've thrown up, and because of your, I'm going to say this because you use so many languages. I know when you use word ADRO, I know you are loyal to the core. Thank you very much for that. All right. All right. But here we are. I want to say, for the purpose of today's celebration, we all agree that Nigeria is what we need. That we need Nigeria. Nobody is disputing here. We need Nigeria. Nigeria is what we need. But there are some issues that are still there, and I want to bring it quickly in before we jump. Kano, the country, as the agitation is there, the East are still agitating. Whether Kano have all the support of the people, but he's still there. The Yorubas, they are very, very unders on the world. They were there. In fact, why in this present dispensation, they almost took over some set of people took over Oyo State that they want to have their own country. The Arewa guys are there in the north. That issue seems to be trashed, put in the carpet. It's not important, but it's there. Is it something we need to address now? Or should we wait for another person to come? What do we do? Let's stay with you, sir. Yeah.
Maybe I should start this time.
All right.
You see, those agitations that you are talking about, they are purely economic. Of course, like I told you, the new system give allow us to go. What is the and every Nigerian to know is that the road we are passing through now, in terms of economic policies, if we want to amount to anything, what has to be? What I think is the problem is that mutual suspicion. Everyone knows that everyone knows that these parallel markets must go for the economy to thrive. But the issue is this. It's causing us agony. Agony, I think, is a higher degree of pain. But the people that asking us to hear the pain, people that are looking at them, that ask for all of this, may just be what?
Speak a little bit louder, Your Highness. Yes.
Because of the lifestyle of the managers of the economy right now. So you step out, you become PA, SSA, SA, or anything to anybody in political office, only for you to come back in convoys or vehicles. That's why the people are not believing them. And that's why they are out protesting. Government should show discipline. You understand? You met fleets in the presidential, airplanes in the presidential fleet. It will be okay. If you said what we have now is not good enough, sell them off. Buy one that is very sound. The people will understand.
All right.
You get my point.
Yeah, we get you. We get you. We can understand.
Spending money on frivolities, that is where people will not take you seriously. And then the feedback system, the media movement of the government we have now, they are not doing enough. So the government should reassure the people that you will give them better life and let them see it, not you to conference that will last for 30 days and we'll be talking, to me, that doesn't make sense. But overall, I think reasonably, let us continue to believe
in Nigeria.
As long as we are in this presidential system of government, as long as this is the capitalist economy that we are running.
That's not the presidential system of government.
Have a way, look for a way to manage what the government at the federal level is doing right now, and also look for a way to talk to the government at the national level to key into policies that will immediately bring succor to the people, not rhetorics, not just figures. That you have no number of CNG vehicles everywhere, and then it does not bring down the cost of transportation.
Thank you very much, Your Majesty. Thank you so much.
What they have done.
Yes. In fact, we're running out of time. I must say we're running out of time, but I cannot. My place, they said you can never allow you to interrupt a king, so I dare not do so, Your Majesty. Thank you very much, sir. Doctor, just to put a final word. Doctor, before you go, Your Majesty, Can you tell a
Yes.
word of advice to Nigeria? What can you say to us on this 64th birthday that we are celebrating? Something positive to take home, sir.
Yes, we have to believe that Nigeria is our own. We have to be positive that we are going to outlive or survive this leadership that we have, and that in no time we will also be provided with an environment that will be able to have the kind of leaders that we do not just desire but deserve.
Thank you so
Continue
much.
to have faith.
Thank you very much, Your Majesty. Thank you very much. Your Majesty said it all. Let us work towards it. Let us believe in it, because Nigeria is our own. I'm going to go to Dr. in Asaba. As a Dr. Emmanuel, we didn't have time. We really need to have this discussion again, but we've got a lot. What do you have to tell us at 64? What is the way forward in your book? What's the way forward, Doctor?
Okay, for me, the way forward, we must start from somewhere. And everybody must be held responsible for whatever decision they take. There is something His Royal Highness talked about, that when they are elected or appointed in the first 3 months, they will build a house in the village. Next 6 months, they will build in the state capital or all that. Now, the thing is this. Before you get into an office, what was it called? You do what they call asset declaration. And before you leave office, or as soon as you leave office, you do another asset declaration. Now, if we keep declaring asset like this, and before you enter into a public office, they know what you have. How come within 3 months
you are not
to build a house?
You thought you're a billionaire.
When you are elected or appointed, when you are filling your asset declaration form,
yes,
you fill in all your bank accounts and
yes,
the money in those accounts.
yes.
Why is it that the EFCC they don't check those accounts and see what enter within those period of time? You see, if, like I said earlier, if we want to move forward, we know what to do. It's just that
it's not rocket science, like you said. Yes,
we know what to do. Just that we are not ready to do it. Just yesterday, at the National Assembly, the House of Rep committee investigating what's happening between Bobrisky, Very Dark Man, EFCC, Nigeria Correctional Services.
I didn't want to go there.
The federal civil servant opened his mouth that he was suspended on social media. That in real life he was not suspended. You can imagine that. That's the joke of a country. So the thing is, if we want Nigeria to move forward as a people, we must take Nigeria project serious. Everybody being appointed, being elected, they are people we know. They didn't fall from heaven. They are from our communities. They are from our states. We know them. So when they assume public office, we should stop praise worshiping them. We should look for every opportunity to tell them the truth. Because when we keep telling them the truth, they will begin to do the right thing. I think we will get it right. We will get it right.
That's a good one.
We'll begin to question ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, before you got into this position, you never had a land in the village. How
Yes.
come we take just 1 year?
You were able to buy 10 lands in 3 days.
When you say, oh, guys, since you are stealing our commonwealth, and when you make the village where he has built that house uncomfortable for him, the man will run from the village. You will run to the state capital or where he built the other house. And when they make that place uncomfortable for him,
he goes to Abuja.
He goes to Abuja, and when they make Abuja uncomfortable for him, where will he run to? He runs abroad. You know, when we begin to treat them like that, the next person that wants to occupy that office having seen how this one was treated,
Yes.
we tend to behave well. I think.
Thank you.
I think we'll get
That's
it
the
right.
way. The office of the citizen need to be more active. Doctor, thank you very much. That's where we ended the show. What do you have to say to us finally?
Well,
because we've come to the end of the show.
I think it's been a pleasure sharing this particular platform with His Royal Highness and my colleague, Dr. Emmanuel. I want to join the president to end in a positive note that regardless of what we're facing today, as tough as it is, I am very optimistic that tomorrow will be a brighter day for Nigerians. And I want to look forward to a time where Nigeria takes its full rightful place in the world nations. And I also know that if Nigeria fails, the Black nation fails. You will not know the extent to which other nations
rely on Nigeria.
Rely and look forward to Nigeria's success, because it's the largest, most populated
Black nation
on earth. Anywhere you go throughout the world, every country you go to, you will see a Nigerian. Among 3 or 4 Black people, you will see a Nigerian. So the Nigeria project is incumbent on us, every one of us, to work assiduously to ensure that it is successful. In doing so, I also want to join my friend Dr. Emmanuel that we need to speak truth to power. We must move away from this hallelujah singing praises, Babake, my leader, and all the rest of it, and start to let people know that when they are doing wrong, they're doing wrong. And governance is not a panacea for people to go and amass wealth. It's an opportunity to make a difference in society. And we continue to felicitate the people who have powers in society. And I also want to join Royal Father to say that I am one of those who is also advocating for a more formidable role for traditional institution and traditional ruler in our country as a possible 4th tier of government. And how we bring that to be well is something that we have to think about. I'm very positive that Nigeria will overcome the current political and economic quagmire it finds itself. And I'm very positive that with the right leadership, Nigeria will actually take its rightful place in the nations, or in the progressive nations of the world. That's my optimism going forward.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Well, listen, it's been a wonderful time. It's a privilege that I've been in the presence of 2 doctors and this Royal Highness. It's what it is. Nigeria was 64, and this is what I say about Nigeria. These are the things I talk about. Look at the caliber of people and the solution they have. They have the solution. We have the solution in our hands. Let's not give up, because once the problem is identified, it is half solved. We know the problem now, and together we're going to go and find a solution to the Nigerian problem. But let's repeat. I want to repeat what Doctor said. From those of us in the diaspora, Nigeria is a very important nation. It's the biggest Black nation on earth. If Nigeria fail, the Black race fail. If Nigeria fail, I repeat, the Black race fail. So we cannot afford to disappoint the Black race. So whatever they do there, just know that the destinies of many lies there. Let us come out and let the citizen defend and protect the government. I want to use 2 words there. Let us defend and protect the government. Protect the government by not allowing them to go astray. And sometimes let us believe in the Nigerian project. Let us be more patriotic. Nigeria is the only thing we have. We cannot go back. Let's move forward. And I have assumed that everybody in the house agree with me that we're going to move forward. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining me. Your Highness, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you. At LinkedIn, I have all these people. I want to have you back. Dr. Emmanuel, it's a privilege to have you. Please, let us go home with a good message for those of you that have joined us. Go home and preach the good news that Nigeria is coming. It's here. And together, Nigeria, we're going to see the new Nigeria. Whether it's going to come from this government is something we need to say. We want to say to the government, please, key in to what they have been saying here, take the best and make Nigeria great, because we need Nigeria to be great. Thank you so much for everybody for joining me. God bless you all.
God bless
And I remain grateful for this beautiful evening. Thank you, sir, for joining me. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Find your sanctuary in the heart of the city. Live the life you deserve in an exquisite apartment. SRTV Luxury Shortlet Apartment, Lagos, is a place where your comfort is rest assured. Welcome to SRTV Shortlet Apartment, part of the prestigious SRTV Real Estate family. Why choose us? Prime location, nestled in the heart of Lagos.